Hello everyone, welcome back. So look at me, I am ready for the dunes. I got the KRX, it's all set up, ready to go. But as you can tell from the title of this video, I didn't make it. I failed and it's my own fault. What does that mean? Well, as you can see, the tires are on there, but they don't fit. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me get in and let me show you a closer image of why they don't fit. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I'm gonna fix it so I don't mix my next dune trip. Let's jump right on into this. So behind you, in case you didn't see the last video, I am running a System 3 360. That is their snow and sand tire. Now I won't lie, the KRX looks a little funny to me because since about 160 miles, I've had 35s on it, and to drop it down to 32s does look funny. So what are the issues I'm having? Well, the front is just fine. The front is a 32, 10, 15, 15-inch rim, 10-inch wide, and honestly, there's no issues. I have no rubbing. When I turn, full scrub, full compression, I'm good to go. But it's a different story over here in the back. So these back tires are a 32, 12, 15. That means they're 12 inches wide. And that stock rim right there, I believe it's 7-in-1 or 6-in-1, so it's 7 or 8 inches wide. I don't quite remember, but it has a really steep back spacing. The issue that I'm running into is I air these things down to around 7 psi for a test, because I don't know what they're going to be. It's my first time running them at the dunes. They're rubbing. Now, as I sit here in a static position, you can see that there's just a little bit of room there. But when you actually start going and putting a load on this and it squashes down, I'm rubbing that area right in there. Now if I go to the other side, this side right here, you see there's a lot more space up in there. That's because I have that tire at 18 psi, basically maxed out so that I could get it onto the trailer. But as soon as I aired down, it was rubbing under movement. So that's just no good. Now there's a positive to this. One, I know the fix. Two, I didn't drive 4 hours out to Glamis to put these on and find out that they don't fit. I ended up putting them on before I left. My fault for not test fitting them a couple weeks prior to leaving. So let's hop in the garage. Let me show you how we're gonna fix this. First thing I wanna do is I wanna get the KRX into the garage so I'm not doing everything in the sun. Go ahead and get that parking brake set before we jack it up. So what's the fix? Well, there's a couple options. Number one is I can buy new rims. And that's not really an option in my eyes because I don't want to buy new rims. My fix is in this box. I really like the fact that I can run a factory true beadlock. The problem is, like I said, is the back spacing. So my next option is to buy a set of wheel spacers. Now there's stuff all over the internet and people like them, they don't like them, and yes, they do put more stress on your drivetrain, specifically the wheel bearings. Now, I'm not a fan of running them up front, but you can do that. I did run them on the Pioneer, and I'll show you that one here in a minute, but I only ran them in the back of the Pioneer to level out the rear wheels to the front wheels until I upgraded to portals. So what's the fix? I reached out to Full Access UTV right here, and I ordered a set of wheel spacers. So when you get a product from them, they usually send you a little koozie, some fun little stickers, give them to your kids, stick them on something, whatever. We'll toss those over there. So I reached out to them for a set of wheel spacers. Now these are specific for the KRX. And what do I mean? Well, when I found out I had an issue, I was leaving the next day. So I looked for a set of wheel spacers on all the marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist. No one had any that fit the KRX. I had the right bolt pattern, but not the right wheel spacers. I reached out to RB3 and they didn't have any in stock either. They're the ones who make Honda wheel spacers. Now they said they could make them for me, just not same day. So next thing is good old Amazon. Well, Amazon had wheel spacers. I can get them the next day, but they weren't the correct ones. And let me show you what I mean. So this is a hub-centric wheel spacer. And let me grab you a Honda one. This is a lug-centric wheel spacer. So what's the difference? You see on this one here, that lip right there. So what's the difference? I've talked about this before, but let me show you again real quick. So most vehicles, light duty vehicles, are lug centric, like your wheel lugs. It's lug centric. And what does that mean? Well, let me get this one off here. So you see that acorn right there? That is what will go on here and basically center the wheel to the spindle, your knuckle, whatever you want to call it. And on a lug-centric wheel, your studs right here are what holds the weight of the vehicle. So the Pioneer has 4. So these 16 studs on the Pioneer, 4 in each corner, held all the weight of the vehicle when it connects to the wheel, the ground. A hub-centric is a little different. So these hub-centric ones, all the weight of the vehicle is supported on the hub. So it sits right here on this ring right here, all the weight of the vehicle. And then those typically have a washer and a flat lug nuts, not one of these acorns. Now, if you'll notice on this wheel spacer, it has these acorn nuts for a lug-centric. You're going, hold on, you just said it was hub-centric. Well, it is. This hub, if you look, you see the lip right there, is milled out. So this is going to sit on the ring on the KRX. And then these right here, they're pretty standard, are what's going to center so it doesn't move side to side. That ring is going to hold the weights, and then the wheel, the weight of the wheel, will sit on this one, and I'll use these stock lug nuts. So enough of me talking. Let me kind of show you what I mean back there, because I got to put the stock wheels back on. You do not want to drive your paddles on concrete. You'll just start tearing them up. You know, moving around your garage is one thing, but remember the rear ends of these are locked, so it'll eat them up, and they're made of a really lightweight rubber. So let's move to the back. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is I got the parking brake set in this thing. I have the front wheel chalked on the other side, just so it doesn't roll, but I gotta get my jack set up. Now, I did a quick review on this previously. These Badlands jacks are awesome. They're just super easy to travel with, super easy to break down. I mean, if you look, you got a piece here, not only straps in there, but bolts on there, all hand tight. Then these will go on here, line that up, and you just tighten these. And then it even has the tool that goes with it. Then it's even got the tool that comes with the Allen, little ball end here, just to kind of tighten it up. You don't really need a wrench on it. Just all in all, a nice jack at a really decent cost compared to smaller brands. Now I have to leave this at the lowest setting to jack this up, because with the 35s, I can lift it up, but with these 32s, this is about all I need to get it off the ground, and I'll adjust again later. So let's get it off the ground. Next step is I'll get this tire off, and I will show you how these wheel spacers go on and how everything goes up. Special thank you to Derek, one of the viewers. He gave me a brand new impact gun. It's their mid-torque Milwaukee. He wasn't going to use it. And before I get comments below, I know I'm using a silver, but it works, and I'm not really torquing on these. I have the torque wrench over there, but let's get this off. So the stock lug nuts, if you look, are flat, and the washers are still on here. So to make sure you don't lose those, you pop this off. Now let me show you a closer view of this hub and exactly what I mean if you didn't understand. I just showed you the wheel spacer. So if you look at the hub here, this right here is the lip I'm talking about. So here's the wheel spacer from the Pioneer. See how it's the same depth? This ring here is all the same. So you would never get that flat. Then if you look at the one for the KRX, see how it's the difference? So what you do is you would slide that on like that. Now if you look, you see that ring down there? Once it's in there, it moves a little bit until you put that lug nut on, which will center it from sliding side to side, but all the weight will be held there. Then when I put that paddle back on, it'll stick out just far enough so it doesn't rub here. Now if I wanted to, before I put on my all-terrain tires back here, I could put these wheel spacers back on here and just widen the track width a little bit to make it more like the front, because the fronts always stick out a little bit wider than the rear, but there's really no need to. because the KRX is just a beast as it is. The only reason I need these is I screwed up and I got a wide tire in the rear that's just too wide for what it needs to be. If I had gotten the 10-inch wide on the rears, I probably would have been fine, but that's life. It is what it is. So let's get the other tires back on. Just like that, the magic YouTube, all the old tires are on. So good thing on that is I got to rotate the tires. The bad thing is I missed my dune trip, and there's not another one until this fall because the dunes just get too hot. So lesson learned, well, was a couple of them. One, if you're gonna put new wheels and tires, either buy a set that you know fits or test fit them before your big trip so you can make some adjustments, get different wheels, whatever the case may be. Number two, if you didn't know the difference between a lug-centric hub or a hub-centric, it's a tongue twister right there. If you know the difference, hopefully you do now. Remember, the lug-centric, the way the vehicle sits on the lugs, and it has that acorn shape lug nut to kind of center the wheel that doesn't really move on there. And if it's a hub-centric, it's gonna have that flat lug nut where it sits all the way on the hub, that ring. Now you can buy aftermarket wheels for the KRXs and some of the other machines that are hub-centric that have that acorn nut, but they still put the weight of the vehicle on that ring. So just be careful if you buy aftermarket wheels that you get the right one for your machine. A lot of machines are all lug-centric. For some reason, the KRX is hub-centric, like the older Polaris's. Other than that, I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and until next time, I'm going to finish torquing all these down.